I don't know if it's near 3,000. And that's 2,000, 3,000 officers to govern 400,000 people in this entire Bahamas. And so you can imagine trying to stretch those human resources, that minimal human resources team all over the entire Bahamas, where we have at least 26 to 28 active islands that require law enforcement presence. And so it's difficult. Officers are going to be tired. I remember one time when I was tired. I was a reservist, and I was coming from work, and I was going home. And Inspector Odlum, my good friend, called me. And he said to me, he said, Gibson, I need someone to be at the station. And I said, boss, I can't do that. I said, I'm really tired. I said, I'm really tired, and I need to go sleep. And he said to me, he said, you know, what happened? He said, I know you're tired. He said, but right now, I need a body. I don't care. I just need a body in the station. I need someone to be there. I said, boss, you know, if I come to the station, I bring in my blanket to go sleep. He said, that's not a problem. He says, I just need somebody there. Because he knew also that, yeah, once I done nap for a couple of minutes, if somebody knocks on the door of the station, I can jump up, and whatever the concern is, I'm going to address it. But these officers are few, and they are tired. The other day we lost Michael Lockhart, Sergeant 3044 Michael Lockhart, right here in Eleuthera, to a traffic accident. He was tired. Just come from work, you know. It ain't been half an hour, he leave work, gone home, and crash. And that's when here's an officer who'd been working hours upon hours upon hours. And we want these officers to go home to their families. We want them to, and so if they lay their head on a desk and take a nap, fine. Because right now, we need them. And I'm not saying this, I ain't talking about themselves who's gold partying, broken up themselves, and then come and be tied to the station. I'm talking about officers who are dedicated, giving the extra hours, adding the extra time, giving of themselves, and sometimes they may need to take a nap. I would rather an officer take a nap in the station than go there and crash and don't make it home. Sleep, my friend. If you need to take a nap, take a nap. Because you can't do to yourself much worse. You could do more damage to yourself over you driving home sleepy than what you would do if you get caught sleeping in the station. Because your senior officer might say something if he's not someone who's sensitive and understands the constraints that you're under. But imagine that you decide, I can force myself to go home. I can take this nap, and I can force myself to go home, and you end up under circumstances where your senior officer can't help you. Because when you die, your senior officer has no say. When you lose your life, your senior officer has no say. When you lose your life, the commissioner of police can't do nothing for you. The most they could do is dress you up at a funeral, fix you up, give you, speak some accolades over your dead body, but you are gone, and your family members are left to deal with your loss. So, officer, if you gotta sleep, sleep. Until we get this situation resolved and we get sufficient officers to properly man our country. I prefer to have a sleeping, living officer than a hard-working, dead officer. You understand what I'm saying to you? Some persons might not agree with that, but it is what it is. I prefer to have a sleeping, living officer than a hard-working, dead officer, because it ain't making no sense.